In Renaissance Europe, medicine was as much alchemy as science, and one of its strangest practices involved turning human remains into cures. Among these macabre remedies, none was more prized or more unsettling than powdered skull. For centuries, physicians prescribed ground human bone, usually from the skulls of executed criminals, as a treatment for epilepsy, bleeding, and other ailments. To the modern mind, the idea of snorting or drinking human dust sounds unthinkable. Yet it was once considered cutting-edge medicine rooted in logic, symbolism, and a deep fear of death. The concept came from the ancient belief in sympathetic magic, the idea that like could heal like, and that life force could be transferred from one being to another. Since the skull housed the brain, the seat of the soul and vitality, it was thought to contain powerful healing properties. Physicians reasoned that if seizures were caused by disturbances in the brain, consuming a small portion of skull might restore balance. In an era before neurology, this seemed plausible. Powdered skull was prepared by grinding dried human bone into a fine dust, often mixed with wine, honey, or even chocolate to mask the taste. Apothecaries sold it in small vials, and it was especially popular among Europe's wealthy elites. The more recent and violent the death, the better the belief being that the fresh energy of a young executed man gave the powder greater potency. Executioners, therefore, became key suppliers of medical ingredients, selling body parts from the condemned to eager doctors and herbalists. The practice was part of a broader medical tradition called mumia, or corpse medicine, which also included powdered mummies imported from Egypt. Human fat used in salves and blood drunk straight from the scaffold. The reasoning was the same. Life could be drawn from death. During public executions, crowds sometimes gathered to collect the still-warm blood of the executed, believed to cure epilepsy when consumed immediately. Physicians of the time, some of them respected scholars, saw no contradiction in these beliefs. Even great names of science participated. The 17th-century physician Thomas Willis, who helped map the brain's anatomy, prescribed powdered skull for treating neurological disorders. Paracelsus, one of the founders of modern chemistry, also endorsed human bone remedies, claiming that the body contained powerful, vital spirits that could heal others. The practice persisted across Europe for centuries, from Germany and England to France and Italy. But powdered skull had a darker symbolism too. Executed criminals were believed to die violently, releasing tremendous energy. By consuming their remains, people hoped to absorb that life force. In this sense, the medicine was both scientific and spiritual, a desperate attempt to control death through ritual. To drink or inhale skull dust was to participate in a strange communion between the living and the dead. By the 18th century, Enlightenment thinking began to challenge these macabre cures. As anatomy and chemistry advanced, physicians realized there was no evidence that human remains had healing powers. The rise of modern medical ethics also made corpse medicine increasingly distasteful, yet traces of it lingered surprisingly long. Powdered skulls and bones were still listed in some European pharmacopoeias as late as the early 1800s. The practice left behind a peculiar legacy. Museums today still hold jars of mumia, dark powders labeled as medicine. They serve as grim reminders of an age when science and superstition walked hand in hand, when medicine meant consuming the human body in hopes of mastering its mysteries. To the people of Renaissance Europe, this wasn't horror, it was hope. The skull was not a symbol of death but a vessel of life, capable of giving one more chance at health. In their world, the boundary between the living and the dead was porous, and healing required crossing it.